So you may have just picked up your Samsung Galaxy A54 and you might be trying to figure out how you can use this specific device. Now, luckily for you, this is a pretty easy phone to use. There's not really anything super crazy going on with it, but there are a few ways of how to use it and I'll go and break that down for you. Now, starting off with the outside of this specific phone, I would always recommend getting a screen protector or a case of your device. So if you go into Walmart or Amazon, go ahead and find one. I'd probably recommend doing that first. Now, on the front of your phone, you are getting a very decent display. It's 1080p, it's 120 hertz as well. If you don't know what that means, basically it'll refresh the display. Everything will look a lot smoother. And I'll show you a little bit later on how to enable it if it's already not enabled. It is a hole punch display, so your front camera is right here, a little bit of bezel around it. But otherwise, it's a touchscreen. You all pretty much know how to use a phone like this by now. Now, on the sides of our phone, we aren't really getting anything super crazy. It's a standard type of styling with aluminum on the side. On the top, you are getting a microphone and you are getting your SIM card eject in your microSD card slot area. So if you have your box available, if you want to go and input a microSD card or a SIM card, whatever, what you can do is you can grab your little SIM card eject tool that you have in the box. It looks something like this. It's like a little needle thing. What you can actually do is you can go and make your way over to the top portion of your Galaxy 54 right here, and you should be able to go ahead and grab this little needle thing. Now, if you don't have the SIM card eject tool, you can always just use a needle or something small that can fit inside of that hole. And you want to easily put it into this hole gently, and you'll then see it pop out. And all you're going to have to do is just go and pull this specific tool out, and you should be able to input your microSD card slot on one side, then your SIM card on the other side. Now, this phone I think supports eSIM as well, so you should be able to do that. But either way, you can still use a physical SIM card and a microSD card slot on this specific phone, which is honestly very, very impressive. Once you have that done, you can slide it back in, and as long as everything works fine, you should be able to activate your phone. Now on the bottom, we have our USB-C charger port. So this will allow us to charge up our phone. So if you ever want to charge up your phone, which you're going to have to do it a lot, this is where you're going to plug in your phone. It takes USB-C, so keep that in mind. And finally, on the back, we have our plastic back. So this is not a glass back, but it's still perfectly fine for a majority of people. This type of back is, perfectly fine. It still feels very good, and I don't really have too many complaints about it. You have your triple camera setup up here as well with flash, and that is pretty much it. On the left side, you're getting your power buttons and your volume buttons, but that is all you're basically getting with this type of device, which is pretty cool. So in terms of that kind of covers it up on the outside. Now, when you first power on your phone and you use it for the very first time, it's going to walk you through a setup. I've already went through this setup, but it's very basic. It just asks a bunch of personal information, so I basically just skip that for now. Now, this phone, you can turn it on once it's actually on via the power button here, or you can double tap the display to turn it on, and you can double tap it to turn it off as well, which is really nice. Now, every time you power on your phone like this, for the most part, you will be into the lock screen. So this is basically what it looks like. So you will get your SIM card, information here, your carrier information, some information up here like battery life and stuff. You'll also be able to get your date and time settings right here. So if you're wondering what the time is or the date is, you'll basically see that information right here, as well as your wallpaper. You will see a list of notifications that you have inside of this panel. So anytime you basically have any notifications coming up, you will see that information right here, basically in the middle of the display, and that's basically all you're going to have to see there. So if you want to expand a notification, you can click on it, and that's basically how you do it. Now at the very, very bottom, you'll see two different panels. You'll see the phone call panel and the camera panel. So if you want, you can go and quickly get into your phone calls or your camera icon, and you can change these later on, but that's basically how it works. Now when you're ready, you can swipe up, and you will be presented into your standard home screen. Now within this home screen, what you can do is you can go ahead and edit this however you want to. Now starting off at the top again, you'll see your status bar. This stays consistent, but you do see the time now up here in the top left corner. You'll see the rest of your home screen, which stays, whichever way you want to change it, you can change it. So let's say you don't want this specific widget here. You can hold down anything on these panels and move them around. So if you go and hold it down, you can move it. If you don't like it, you can also hold it down once more, and you should be able to go ahead and delete it. There's a little, remove button. There's also a way to add widgets if you want to as well by holding down on an empty part of the screen, and you'll basically be able to get into your home editing panel. Now, I would recommend and encourage every single person watching this to kind of mess around and kind of see some settings here and there, change up your wallpaper and wallpaper style, and you'll basically be able to have a really good time. I think that's a really good way of approaching it. Now, you might be wondering how you actually go back home. If you're in this page, how do you go back home? Well, you may either have a gesture-based design at the bottom or these standard nav buttons. as soon as you boot up your phone, you'll basically get into these nav bar buttons. So if you want to go into your home, you can either swipe up via the gesture, or you can click on the home button right there, and that will take you back home. It will always take you back home wherever your home screen is, like I mentioned. It'll take you to the same spot where you can go ahead and edit up your panels or open up more applications or whatever. And the three lines here are the recents panel. So if you want to see all the recent applications that you have, well, you can go and click there and you will see all the recent apps that you basically have. And from here, you can even get into an older app that you have. You can also go ahead and swipe out of an application like this and save a little bit on RAM, which you don't really have to do anymore. Or you can close all applications and basically clear out all the memory that you have on your phone for the applications that are just there loading up in the RAM. And that's another thing you have the ability of doing as well. Now this back button is pretty cool too. If we make our way over to our Google Play Store, which is the application where we download all of our applications from, and let's say we make our way over to our panel, if you ever see a back button, like on a computer or whatever, you can also do the same exact thing here. You can just click back and it will take you to the previous panel, just like how this button will basically take you back to. So now, whenever we're ready, we can make our way home and we'll come back into the same panel. Now, another thing you may want to see is, how to do standard stuff. Well, this is your phone call application. You can go and make phone calls with. This is your texting application, so you can go and make text with this application. This is your internet browser, so you can go on the internet. You can also access the camera via right here. Now, those are some of the basic things. The more you use your phone, the more you'll understand it. So I would encourage you to actually go through each individual of these applications, which are probably the apps you're going to use the most, and just kind of go through and kind of understand them the best you can. Now, you can have different panels on your home screen as well. So if you want to bring an application to the other display, you can hold it down and you can drag it to the other side and drop it here. You can also remove an application if you don't want it by coming here and clicking remove like I mentioned before. In this case, I'll go and bring it back. And you might be wondering where the rest of the applications are. Are these it? Well, not quite. If you actually swipe up from the bottom, you will see all the applications you have on your phone. So you can see we do not have Facebook on this main screen, but we have it here and all these other apps as well. So there are lots of applications on your phone, and you might want to go ahead and just kind of understand them and kind of see which ones you have, that you have available. So there's the photo application here. There's lots and lots of different apps I'd recommend you to kind of get used to. So just go through, try to see what applications you can go and use and see which ones you're familiar with. And that's another amazing, fast way to kind of understand your phone. Now, finally, one of the last things I'm going to show you is within the settings application. So our settings app has a ton of stuff built in inside of it. So if we go and click on settings right here, you'll see that we have our settings information. Well, what we can do here is we can go ahead and try to see if you ever have any questions within settings or you're trying to find a specific thing, you can go through your settings panel and you'll basically be able to find tons of information and tons of stuff here. So you can always click the search bar right up there and you'll basically be able to search for different things within your settings. And this is something that's really important and it's really cool because a lot of people are able to go ahead and solve their problems without even having to look online basically. Now, within this panel, you have connections, connected devices, your display settings. So if you click on display, if you want to turn on motion smoothness, which is a 120 Hertz panel, keep it on adaptive right there, and that will go ahead and basically enable it for you. If you click on standard, which is 60 Hertz, I mean, it is what it is, but that's another option that you have right there. Now you have wallpaper and style, themes, security and privacy, but all the way at the bottom, there's a little option that says software update. I would recommend every single person watching this video to go ahead and actually download and install the latest update on your phone. This is going to be something that you're probably going to want to do. Just go ahead and download and install this update because it's probably going to fix a lot of issues that you have with your phone. And that is by far, again, one of the more important things I'd recommend doing to keep your phone as updated as possible. And then that's basically all you have to do. Now that is basically the core foundations of this phone. Some other things, as you'll learn as you go are, the status bar. So if you swipe down, you'll basically be able to see your notifications or your past notifications. If you swipe down once more, you'll basically be able to see your Bluetooth toggles and all this other information, your quick toggles right there. So that's another thing you have the ability of doing. And I would definitely tell you, the more you use your phone, the more you're going to understand it, and the easier it is to going to be kind of, use this phone or use any Android phone really in the future. So that pretty much covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.